I just like to be respectful.
Sure.
And and before we officially just launch in, if either of you wanted to say what drew you here, that would be lovely, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
Kim?
Yeah. Well, the idea of life and death has been so, well, it's the only game in town. So I've been very, very interested in it from, very, very young, little girl. And now, as I'm advancing on this human timeline, it seems extremely relevant and timely. And so I want to do this, I want to approach this, you know, this inevitability consciously and with intention and ultimately with peace. And actually, I'm a life coach. And so I just created a program about that. And it's, yeah, you are muted though, Shirley, I think. And so anyway, it's all just in different from different paths, just something very relevant, pertinent, and interesting to me.
I love that. Are you currently caretaking for someone, or is it more just how you want to be with yourself through these process?
Well, definitely, I want to be like that. I want to be the best I can be for myself. But of course, if I have the occasion to support anyone else, I want to be better at that. Today is my father's birthday. He passed away 22 years ago. Um, and 4.5 years ago, my mother passed away. I was thinking about you the other day. Shirley, I don't know if you remember that you wrote a letter for her, to her for me, that you
For
do on
your
your birthday.
Oh,
yes.
And
Oh,
she was ill, very ill at that time. And when I gave her that letter and she read it, she said, "This is the best thing that's ever happened to me."
oh.
So I thank you. That is always there.
oh, Kim. Oh my goodness. Will you tell us your father and your mother's names so we can just invite them into the room?
Yeah. It is Janice Dominic and Thomas Dominic.
Oh, I'm just writing that down so I have them here.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank
And
you. I am too. And thank you. What you gave us is
oh,
still living on, and I really appreciate it.
that just makes me feel so good. It makes me feel so connected to your mom too.
Yeah.
Rafina, how about you? Was there something that drew you here today?
In the recent uh past few months, there I seem to have been drawn uh to this whole concept of death. It doesn't frighten me, but I just feel I want to be prepared. So I got down to making my will and getting the power of attorney done and just listing out what I'd like done when I'm gone, and uh, you know, so that people left behind are uh, not left with too many things to do suddenly. But so I'm just kind of being organized and letting them know that this is the funeral director, this is who needs to be
Yeah.
contacted, these are the people you have to tell, this is my bank account, this whatever, this is how I'd like my last rites to be, and all that kind of thing. And um and then your invitation came through and I said, is this what is this? And it's 4 o'clock in the morning here.
Oh, my word.
Oh, Rafina, where are
I'm in
you?
Australia.
Oh, you bless
Oh
her
my goodness.
heart.
That's
And
amazing.
Yeah.
and so I'm here. And I also want to do this. If I can reach out to other people in some way or form, then that's what I'd like to do.
This is so beautiful, both of you. I love this. And I'm so grateful that you both chose to just share a little bit. Obviously, it's a tiny group today, and I always feel like the exact right people are in the exact right place at the exact right time. Like that's just and I can tell you, um, I'm currently in a time of grief myself, and being here with you three is just like a balm. And I mean this truthfully. Just seeing your faces, knowing that we're going to be having a really meaningful conversation. And I really want before too much time passes to formally introduce you to Sonja Jeanne, who Sonja is just one of the most beautiful people that I've known. And I'm going to let you, Sonja, just for a minute or two, tell us like how we ended up doing this, and why are we offering this today?
Oh gosh. Um, Thank you, ladies, for being here. This is awesome. And Sherry, just for your heart in guiding this, I'm so grateful. Um, I guess the first reason that I'm in this room with you all is that when I was 24 and just engaged, my mom was diagnosed with early onset dementia at the age of 59 or 60. And we had a decade journey together. So she passed away in 2016. I think I was 34 years old. That was a really big experience to have. It's such formative years. But I always had such a close relationship with my mom. And even though, she changed, there was so much growth in our connection. Like it became really a soulful connection. And it just made such a mark on who I am as a person that I felt called to try to help people. Um, so that's why I'm here. Because I just want to try to help people, like, whether it's you going through these changes or whether you've got a loved one, and maybe, it's life, something could happen in times coming up, but we never know the health of our loved ones. So maybe there's a nugget or two from this, workshop today that you might be able to take and actually be in a caregiver role. Or even just thinking about from your own perspective, like just as aging. I mean, even I think it, I'm 44, which is young, right? Like
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but I've also heard that after you're 40, life is kind of like walking like a gauntlet, and just anything can happen. So I, believe it or not, do think about these topics. So I would like to try to help, based on the two of you, maybe come from the perspective a little bit today as well. Not specifically just a caregiver perspective. And Sherry and I happened to meet at a conference like in 2018. So I was, my mom had passed within a year and a half or two, and it was just this little pinprick of light connection. And we just kind of kept this little bit of conflict going on. And then we started to have a few more conversations. And then it just turned into, let's do this together. Like we have a real commonality in wanting to connect deeply with people. And I
Yeah.
think even the topic of this is about end of life. One of the things, like, I was a caregiver. It's now been a decade, since I was a caregiver in that situation with my mom. But the way it has formed me to connect with others deeply, continuing, like someone doesn't have to be aging or ill to be connecting deeply with them. So maybe that's another possibility here. Sherry, I think you might be muted actually. I'm
Can
not
you hear
hearing you.
me? Are
Oh,
you
now
not?
I do.
I was
I
just
hear
being very
you,
cool.
Sherry.
I was
Oh,
just being,
oh,
I was just loving your story. And can we say that your mom's name was Jean? So
yes.
I love to, I
So,
think it's really important to bring people's names in. Yeah.
yeah.
God bless her.
And um, so I think Kim and Rafina, you may or may not know, I'm in the midst of, aside from being in the midst of grief myself, which is this is a crazy timing, I have a book coming out that is an end of life planner. And this planner, for me, it's not just all of those really important logistical things that we all know, the legal, the logistical forms, and everything that we can put in place to really help our loved ones to navigate their grief, but it's also a lot about how we are with ourselves, how we are with other people, in talking about end of life, how we plan for leaving a legacy of love behind. And so this conversation today is really going to be, I think, whatever it ends up being emerging as actually. But what Sonja and I have been talking about is just looking at some different ways that we can be present. Because one of the things that we all know is we live in such a distracted world that, first of all, so few people even want to talk about these really important conversations, right? We all know that. But then it's like, how are we really present with ourselves and other people when we're either talking about end of life or we're ushering through someone through the way that Sonja did with her beautiful mom? Even like we were saying, and this is how I'm kind of thinking about it, like I have a very beloved mother who's 87, and I hope she lives to be 112. I mean, I don't know how long she'll live, you know. I love her so much. But we don't know, right? So it's like how I'm hoping this workshop will also help me to inform me how am I with everybody, because we don't know who's at their end of life, really. So one of the things that I thought we could do just for a half a minute, now that we've sort of had our introductions, is just kind of close our eyes and just take a moment and just breathe together. I know for me, I really just sometimes just need to focus on like the deep, deep in breath, and then a really nice out breath. Just really being grateful to ourselves that here we are, willing to show up, willing to talk about things that can be uncomfortable or hard or uncertain. They can also be joyful and really help us feel connected to one another. And in the spirit of how Sonja and I would like to approach this today, which is really about there's no right way, there's no right way to be, there's no right way, there's no right answers. There's just a couple lines I wanted to read you from Mary Oliver's poem, Wild Geese. You guys may know it already. These are some of my favorite lines in poetry ever. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. And I think that's kind of just the spirit that we're approaching this, which is through love, right? We're here because, you know, we want to love ourselves through whatever happens. We want to love people in our lives. Hopefully we want to be that way with everyone that we meet. So I'm glad you guys are both here. And we wanted to share, Sonja and I have a, a ritual that has to do with this candle behind me. And I think, Sonja, you have one too, that we just briefly wanted to share with you because it's one of the ways that Sonja and I actually really started to connect deeply. Sonja, do you want to tell the story of the candle?
Sure. So I had gotten, oh, yay for the background. Here's my candle. Anyway, it is here. Anyway, so my mom and I love to camp together and have bonfires. And at some point we discovered the woodwick candles that sound like a little crackling fire. And so I would get my mom these candles, and she was in assisted living for a lot of years, and so I'd have them in her assisted living. And um, there is a story related to her end of death where we could tell that that time was coming. And I had lit the candle, and then when my mom did, her soul did choose to slip away, that candle went out, and like it had just burnt out, like in the same exact time frame. So I liked to think as if my mom's soul had blown that candle out. Her time on earth was complete. And I shared that story with Sherry, and then she took it a whole other place.
Well, what, and I love that, right? So Sonja would if I remember, tell me if this is not right, but what I remember also as a part of that story is that you would have one in your home and light it.
Oh yeah.
And she would have one and she would light it. And it was a way through the energy of light and the flickering. There's like kind of a life force in a candle that I loved that idea. And Sonja actually sent me 2 candles after we had that conversation. And she said, send one to your mom. So my mom and I now have, in fact, right now, my mom has her woodwick candle lit. She's not here with us. She's So, but she does have her candle lit as part of being part of with all of us. And it's a way to connect from afar. So if there's somebody in your life that you want to share this ritual with, I just sent it to someone who's very dear to me, whose mother passed away. And same thing. I said, you know, he's close to my mom. My mom is lighting the candle. I'm lighting it. It's just a way that we can stay connected. And I wanted to start with that because I think it's really beautiful to find these kinds of rituals that connect us to ourselves and to other people, no matter what, right? It doesn't have to be end of life, but I think particularly to Sonja's point that that was such a beautiful story. So, Sonja.
May I? Yes. So when Sherry and I were speaking recently, I was telling her, a bunch of story about my mom, and could go on and on about her and our experience with a decade. And Sherry just asked me this golden nugget of a question. She said, if you had one tip to share with people, what would that be? And right away, my feeling just went to with your loved one, um, and even just in your own experience, like when it's about us, like think about our physical experience, because that's the experience that's going to be leaving someday, when we depart this earth. Like I mean, we all have our own beliefs, but if you believe in, spirit or an afterlife, different connection, you know, it's our physical body that we're losing. And, you know, so if someone, oh, hello. So if
And I was
someone, oh, sorry, go ahead, Sherry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, hi, Safina. We just started a few minutes ago. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
And Safina, can we check quick? Do you have a specific person that you have in mind, that you are a caregiver for, or kind of anticipating to be, or not even a caregiver, but just caring about as going through?
Yes, I'm here right now with my mom. I'm just in her room. And yeah, she's in hospice right now.
Okay.
She has ovarian cancer that has spread to the brain. So she's been hospitalized for 4 months. And I'm the primary caregiver. And yeah, she's been in hospice for about a week because during this time as well, my younger brother got colon cancer, and
Oh.
my dad is recovering from a stroke. So I'm kind of the main person, but I'm recovering from a car accident myself, and I have a concussion. So it's a lot.
Oh, Safina. Honey, let's just take a moment. We're just like, just hold you here. Wow. Oh, honey. Thank you. Thank you for being so honest with us about all of that and for being here. I hope you can feel our love just coming your way.
Thanks so
We're
much.
with you, Safina. We'll do anything to give you some hope and help through as you're navigating everything. Holy heaviness of life.
Are we saying your name correctly? Is it Safina?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
perfect. Thank you.
And also, Safina, we said this when we first started, but feel free if you don't have to share, you don't have to talk, you can just listen if you want. Like, Kim and Rufina and Sonia and I already had this conversation, but whatever makes you feel the most comforted and soothed by this, okay? Whatever you need. That's what really counts. Yeah.
Thank you.
So Sonia was just starting, we had just done a little bit of a welcoming, and she was just sort of talking about, maybe you can start again with the question that I had
Yeah.
asked you.
Yes. So Sherry and I had been talking, and I navigated my mom through a decade of dementia. You look pretty young. I was ages 24 to 34. Yes, and we may be hitting that pocket. So, some of this grief. And when Sherry asked me, what's one golden nugget that you could give people? I just feel like it's to focus on the physical, like, because you've got them here right now. Like, and when we know that it's imminent that they're going to pass away someday with gigantic changes, their physical body's not here. We can still talk to them with our soul. I do all the time with my mom. It's part of my ritual, and just, I really love nature, if you can tell. Um, and just, find those things that root you with them now. And um, just being so intentional that, when you're with them, that you're really seeing them, and you're just making, like, you make a point to make eye contact, and you're seeing your family a ton. And so when, like, every single visit you get into hospice, like, if you can just grab one way to have a physical connection with your loved one, that maybe it's a touch, maybe it's my mom, being in dementia, like, could kind of stare off. And I realized if I would put my face kind of right in front of hers, within about a foot of her face, then she would come right into focus, and we would have this eye contact.
Yeah.
And I would leave her assisted living knowing we connected that day. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't, like, so, like, every opportunity you have, like, if you can try to grab something physical with them, or maybe it's a handhold or a hug or all of the above, is to do something to root that you are here with them. They feel that love and intention. So, like, you're giving them such a gift because they know how much they mean to you. But you're also giving yourself such a gift because, oh, she went away.
Oh, we lost her. I know.
Um, you know, someday, when they do pass away, you can know, like, you did your very best and you connected and it was real. Well, she was here to hear that. I'll have to repeat it. But
Sonja, I love what you're saying. And also what I'm doing as you're talking is I'm kind of thinking, and Kim and Rafita, maybe you guys are as well. We're going to be doing a little journaling, and we could be looking at this from how can we be with ourselves physically? Like, how can we really, really, truly embody this physical body while we're here with care and love? Oh, Safina's back. And also thinking of how we can be with other people in the way that Sonja's saying. Hi, Safina. Glad you're back. You can feel free to unmute or not. It's up to you. Kim, did you want to say something?
Yeah, sure. What you're talking about reminds I'm in a program right now, Andrew Holacek, the Preparing to Die program. He said something that really landed with me, and to your point, Sonja Jeanne, which is, while we have this body, like, put in before whatever you want, but let's be aware of that. While we have this body, there are certain things we can do, certain things we want to be intentional about, and it might be small things or whatever you call it, small or big or in between, but we just take it for granted, right? And so that I just wanted to share that because I didn't ever really think of it like that before.
I'm glad you did, Kim. Thank you so much. Right. And you're right. Like, I think because for me, I'll speak for myself. Like, I've only ever known myself here on this planet in this body, and only known the people that I love to be here or gone. Like, it's so jarring in a way to think about it all. But I love what you're saying. Like, wow, we're here to be here, and I think that that's a big, right. We used present as a very intentional word in the title of this because presence is everything. Um, do you each have something to write on a journal?
No, but I
Maybe.
can type in my on a paper. I'll turn the volume off as I do
And
that.
if you don't, it's also okay because, we're so fluid with all of this. It can also be like, maybe I just wanted to give a couple prompts and you could either write down responses or just sit with it, right?
Mhm.
That's also, and then if people wanted to share, they can. If you don't want to, that's also fine. We have, I think 4 or 5 different topics that we want to talk about. And this was just seemed like the first place to start was with the physicality. So if you want to journal, let me just give you a couple prompts. And we're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but just enough to just kind of pause so that everybody has a time to reflect a little bit. So what Sonia has just been saying is about like, you know, how do we get physically present with ourselves or with someone that we love? And it can be either. So if you just want to either write about that for a moment or think about it, but like what brings you into that physicality that connects you? And if anybody wanted to share a thought about that, and if you don't, that's also fine. I would just like to say for me, like what we did at the start of this call is really important for me, which is like really conscious breathing. And you know, it sounds so simple and it is simple, right? But it's like for me, it's that, oh my goodness, I have breath, you know. And sometimes if especially if it's somebody like, for instance, right now I've been doing some grieving with other people, just like breathing together can be such a beautiful way to be connected in a physical way. The other thing that we thought we could just either, again, if you're writing to write, or if you're just, you know, holding it, but thinking about, are there tiny moments, again, either with another person that you love or with yourself, you know, tiny moments that stand out for you that feel connected, like it might be in laughter or touch or a memory. Sonja, Jeanne, you might have another. I know you told that beautiful one about like being up close with your mom. Is there another physical memory you have that you hold?
Oh goodness. So many. Um, we were such huggers. And this is going to sound real. So my mom became she was total care. So like had to be like turned every 2 hours, like for years. I am a big, strong girl. I'm near 6 feet tall. I'm really physically strong, was like kind of born this way. And also an athlete. And so I would like be able to pick her up and I would just like hold her. And we had quite a height difference because I'm near 6 feet and she was like 5'4". And so she would like lay her head on my chest.
Oh,
And when my mom was in hospice for 2 years, and um, when it was just past time, you know, she was too frail to be able to do that with. Where there's a will, there's a way. And so she was laying in bed and the door was closed, but if somebody were to come in, it would look kind of weird. But I got on top of her and just really lightly hovered
wow,
over her to still be able to give her that full body hug.
wow,
And I just
wow.
and I'm a cheek hugger, so I
Oh,
always like put and come at you, you're probably gonna get the cheek, but it's always
oh,
always that way with her. And in her so like in all those hugs, I was that way, and I just was like, I think I was just remembering her on a cellular level.
mm,
And in her last days, I mean, because she went through the whole um you know dying process, which takes a while. And I spent so much time just at her cheek and
oh,
telling her, like, because it, it was about my expression, but it was what I wanted her to know. Like,
yeah,
I wanted her to know how much I loved her and how proud of her I was, and that I would keep talking to her and just doing everything I could to just keep sewing these threads of soulful connection. And that's made, um, it's made so much difference in my grief, because I know that physically while she was here, I
yeah,
was there with her. Like it wasn't like it just none of it came as a surprise to me. And I know that the amount that I was able to root in with her, that was real. I appreciated and loved her and just enveloped her as much as I could while she was here. And there's just no regret to have about that. Like
yeah.
it really rooted it for me. And that's a really big point.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I just so appreciate that you responded that way you did when I asked you about like the number one thing, because I think you're right, like the physicality, while we still have it, right? So that was the place to start. I know that you have several more steps. Do you want to go and we'll move on to the next one? And
Yes, yes, of course. Our we all have such ways about us and our personalities and quirks, and like even though there can be hard times of like change and illness and aging, just kind of finding those moments of joy in the quirks and just what makes us who we are. And one of the things that I kind of tongue in cheek blame on my mom my whole life is she was such a sweets eater. And I'm like, well, no, I'm such a sweets eater. And so my mom being like needing like she needed to be fed like a couple years into having dementia. And so like she couldn't actually like, feed herself. But I came walking by one day with a cookie,
oh,
like because I always rated the cookie jar like at the assisted living. And I was standing close to her and I had this cookie. She took it from my hand. So
what?
it's like I mean, you have to give the reaction like, hey, like what, you know? Um, and she just did it. And you just don't know. Like, I think, some our culture, if I could just shake our culture and be, because sometimes it's like when folks are, aging or ill, it's like people they don't want to always look, or they don't want to always be present. And holy moly, I argue with every part of my being that the more present you are, that you see that like they're still there and you can find ways to connect. And the funniest stuff happens. Like my mom hadn't been able to purposely say my name or anything like that. Um, and the caregivers would wear a name tag. There's just one day my mom goes to the scale, goes, "Hey, Cheryl." Like, but you have to be around to witness that.
Yeah.
And it's and the pat even if you all had a loved one in dementia, our stories and and how that presents in everyone would be different. But the concept of being there to still connect and still witness these things that go on, and how you can bring in like these old stories and what you used to laugh about, and you know what was your like a big bond in our family is pets, like dogs. So like there's always like stories about the dogs, or I would bring my dog in, and she liked to go see her grandma, and my mom would just light up, and that dog
Oh,
would be so loyal next to her all the way through her passing. In fact, the dog was right next to her. And
oh, Sonja.
just
I
Wow.
go ahead, Sherry.
Well, I just wanted to say I love your stories, and they really illustrate like what you're telling us. And again, I'm listening from two different places. One, I'm listening from how I can be with other people in my life, whether they're, dying or not, right? Like just how to be with people in our lives, and also how
Yeah.
to be with myself. And so, I'm kind of listening from both those ears. And what I'm really hearing you talk about is that how important it is to really like anchor in the the unique parts of who we are and who the people we love are. And again, we'll take a moment right now, write it down if you want, or just to reflect on like whether you're doing it like, yeah, what is it about me that I love that I want to like sort of, always remember to smile about, or to love about myself, or someone that you've got in mind. Safina, it might be with your mom, but yeah, like what kind of quirky everyday kinds of characteristics come to your mind when you think about yourself or someone you love?
Or even just things that light you up. Because from my perspective, like, so I don't have children. I have no idea what my aging, I don't know, like, I don't have a me that was for my mom. When I think about this, and it's like, man, if I just had in my documents, like, if there's any chance you could have a focus on animals, music. So this is maybe something you could fold into this prompt is if this is about someone you're thinking of, or even just about yourself. And you said that a little bit, but just it could be something quirky. It could be something that's just something that lights you up so much that, someday if you're in the care of someone else and if knowing that tidbit about you would spark you, that would be a really cool thing to write down a couple things.
Yeah, I love that, Sonja. Thank you for adding that in. Yeah, for instance, I know like in my end of life plan, and my son and I joke about this all the time, which is that I have a playlist of music that they sort of each song sort of tells a little story to me. Nobody else would get it, but it's like my own little life story soundtrack. And I think that would be really important. I don't know, of course, at the time, but that's something that I will often ask other people too. Like, are there songs that really mean a lot to you? Because music can light people up. Animals definitely. Yeah. I'm gonna pause and ask Rafina or Kim if you guys wanted to jump in. You don't have to, but if there was anything you were thinking about and you wanted to share.
I like that idea about having a playlist to listen to. My
Hmm,
sister did that for my mother.
she did.
Yeah, that was really insightful of her, and also I think really a blessing for my mother. I believe so. My mother couldn't speak. She was kind of she'd had a stroke. So these were her last days, and she wasn't, at least what we could discern, she wasn't communicating. That's what I mean when I say I would like to be better at it in the future. But anyway, she did play that music for her, and I have to believe it was a real source of comfort and maybe joy. So I like that idea.
How did your sister, do you know, did she just kind of think of like I think I remember these are the songs mom liked. Do you know how she came up with the list?
That's a great question. I didn't ask her. She knew some of the songs my mother liked. I think they were mostly gospel songs. And I think she knew anyway some of her favorites. How she had that idea, I don't know, but my sister is extremely I don't know the word for it, but that way, she thinks about other people
Yeah,
and and anticipates, I think, what they might want or need.
that's beautiful. That's so beautiful. Sophie,
Yeah.
I know. Oh, got it. Perfect. I was just about to say to you, that's what you just answered it in the chat. I was just going to say, feel free when you want to jump in if you want, but no pressure whatsoever. Yeah, I really love that. Rufina, I just wanted to check in with you. If you wanted to share?
What I'd like to say is when my mom too had dementia and she passed away, and I was her primary carer. Uh, with though I have a brother and sister, I was her primary carer and right to the end. And like Sonja Jean said, I spent. She was in care for the last 3 months of her life, and I was there with her early in the morning before she woke up. Then I'd go to work and come back and then be with her till she went to bed about 10 o'clock at night. And that was the most beautiful time I spent with her. Um, but and touching on music, my brother who never had it didn't do much for mom after we migrated to Australia. Uh, came to the nursing home to see her, and all he did when he came for the last few days that she was with us was he would play her music, play the music she loved. And that was so beautiful to uh, for I think for her, because I could see that she knew my brother. She couldn't speak, and she wasn't aware, but she knew my brother was around, and that even though there was distance and separation and disharmony between us, he knew that he had come back and things would be better, I think, because after he came and did that few times, she passed.
Mm. Mm.
Wow. Oh, Rafina, thank you so much. Oh, it's so powerful, isn't it? The
Yeah,
the
yeah,
relationships, the energy between people, the love that can change everything. That was so
yes,
beautiful.
Even at the last minute.
yeah, yeah,
Even at the last minute. Oh, Kim,
yeah,
right?
And
Wow.
everybody has this different complexion to them for how they are in the world. So like you were how I was, and I have two brothers that some were like how your brother was. And some stay a little more distant, but then what a gift that your brother gave to like, kind of come in and express in his own way that fits his person, but also was so resonating with your mom. So it's like it's
yeah,
just amazing this chemistry of, two people. It looks different between every two people, but it warms my heart to have heard your mom got what she needed from him.
yes,
Really beautiful.
And I just wanted to acknowledge, I know, Safina shared so openly with us too, and really to acknowledge also, like, there's so much else going on sometimes. Like, oh my gosh, we all like really heard you, Safina. And it's like, I think also to bring in such a deep compassion for, and again, whether it's our own end of life that we're looking toward or someone that we love, that it's like also understanding that our lives are so complicated and complex, and just to bring in the compassion for the other things that are going on for other people that are really big, that in themselves, I know, Safina, I felt this when you were talking, that it's like any one of those things could flatten us, right? And yet then we're bringing it into someone else's end of life, and just to have the deepest of compassion, I think is really for me what's coming up. um and I know, this kind of leads right in, Sonja, to your next topic. Yeah.
Well done. Yeah, finding joy even though something's really hard. Um, my bit of a story on this concept is my mom moving into her first assisted living. Um, I had transitioned her. I was there, like I slept overnight. I just wanted to try to just make sure she knew I was there. But I still lived a little ways away. So I was just about to leave, and she's feeling all of the change. She's feeling the loss of independence now. She's not in her house. Now she's in the assisted living. She got to have the dog with her. So that was a major win. But I was on my way out, and she's like, can't I just have a small car to go to Walmart? I was like, oh, that's so cute. And then I'm like, oh, she's feeling that loss of independence to not be able to have the car.
Right.
And I don't even credit me for coming up with this. Just, I don't know, maybe God speaking through me. And I said, Mom, I'm like, you know, do you feel like I help you a bit? You know, and she was so proud. And she's like, yeah, like she loves how I help her. And she was really receptive of that help, which is also such a gift to be receptive of the help. And then I said, do you know why I help you so much? And she just looked me in the eye, and her voice went real high, and she goes, because you love me. I'm
Oh,
like,
Right
yes,
answer.
yes, definitely why. And I'm like, what? But then I had to bring it back tender and real honest. And I'm like, but also because you need that help. Like, and she wasn't feeling, she couldn't see from my perspective what her losses were, which were such a blessing. But it was also hard because she wasn't identifying that she needed the help. So to ask like a small car, it's like, oh, that would not be a good idea. But so what I had to lean on was her trust of me. And so
Yes.
I'm just like, I know that, you know, I know this feels like I would try to figure out how she felt. Like, you know, like her being in dementia, like it was kind of a whirlwind. And I don't know, I was just trying to put myself in her shoes. And she said, yes, like that's how, yes, like she just had a hard time grabbing onto things. And I just wanted to root her in her trust of me to be able, like, cause she trusted me and loved me to guide her through.
Yeah.
So even if it didn't make sense to her, you know, she could look to me
Yes.
and know that like Sonja's got me, you know, like my daughter's got me. It's okay. And so my real point here is, um, you know, even in the hard stuff, like if you can have that, you know, keep building on that trust that you have with your loved one and you know, keep trying to build that. And I just feel like that is the answer to connection number one, but then just to some of those process things where life has to change. You know, they lose the ability to drive, they're going into assisted living, there's care coming in, and that's not normal. If you can root in that trust, um, I just believe that it makes both of your experiences smoother. So,
Yeah. And Sonia, that trust piece is so huge. And again, if we're thinking in terms of ourselves, I think that's also an important aspect, right? I mean, I often have to do this for myself, even just right now, like through the grief process, which is like, you can do this, you're strong, you can get through this, you've got, like that way, the same way we would be for someone else, to be that way with ourselves, like kind of even out loud. um and I know Safina stepped away for a moment, but I really wanted to acknowledge what she noted in the chat, because I think this is the second part of what you're saying, Sonia Jean, which is you remembered that story, right? You have that specific story of, couldn't I just have a little car? And I don't know if you wrote that down, but like what Stephanie was just saying is that she's been taking notes, right? And we could do this, again, someone else that we love. I mean, or we could do it for ourselves. You guys probably have heard me talk about the love list a lot. It's something that is a tool that I use, which is really just a conscious way of remembering those beautiful moments or funny things or memories or quirks. And I have running lists on an audio recorder for everybody that I'm really close to. And if something happens, I'll just get on the recorder, and just like Safina just said she does with her mom, right? Is to, like, if I were Sonia Jean, right, I would say like, oh my gosh, I just came from my mom, and it was so beautiful and touching and tender, this moment between us. And here's what she said, and here's what it brought up for me around trust. And then it does anchor those things in for us. And I just wanted to say, Sonia, I love, because so much of our joy of our life can come when things are really hard. I mean, I've had countless moments. Oh, Safina, I was just sharing what you read. Did you? I don't know if you heard that. Um, yes. So that was so beautiful. And I love that you're doing that so much, right? And so many of our joyful moments, even though it's a different kind of joy than when we're happy, but like going through grief with someone else or going through an end of life with someone, um, it's so beautiful. There's a different kind of joy. And I hear that, Sonia, in all of your stories about your mom, right? Like it's tender joy, but it is joy. And so I'm really appreciating this particular point of yours about, how do we practice? And again, I'm so happy, Safina, that you're doing this. And Rafina and Kim, I hope you do it even with yourselves, right? Like practicing remembering the joy even when things are hard. Yeah. So I don't know if you want to just reflect for a moment. Again, if you're writing, you can write it down right now. But otherwise, just to even sort of anchor it in for yourself, like, is there a moment in your life or the life with someone, Safina and your mom, that exemplifies that? Like, oh yeah, this was a moment of joy in that hard moment. And if anybody wants to share, that's great. And if you don't, that's also fine. I think for me, what just dropped in is that I was I was with someone who the person who just lost his mom, and she and I used to share a love of the same kind of Cabernet wine. We would always we would always be the minute like I'd walk in, she'd be like, I got your glass of wine. And it was just such a sweet, it was just such a sweet thing. And I bought a bottle of that wine and I took it to her home and poured some wine um and we toasted, and it was sad and it was beautiful all at the same time, right? It was just like I made sure to have her glass there, and then every once in a while we'd say, come on, you need to drink your wine, you love, and it just like those moments of just tiny bits of humor that we could bring in. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that, Sherry.
Yeah.
I love that you shared that story.
And Safina, I know that you're being quiet because you're with your mom, but if you wanted to post a specific story, but if you don't, that's also okay. Anything else about that Kim or Rafina that you wanted to share?
Uh, m- my mom had a fall, and I was not able to look after her after she had a fall because I couldn't lift her. I couldn't help her to shower. I couldn't help her to go to the bathroom or anything. And it was when she would see me cleaning up after her, uh, because if she called out to me, it would take me time. I'm an amputee, and so I had to put my leg on to go and help her. And uh, by then she had done what she had to do, and I had to clean up after her. And she said, "You don't have to do this." And I said, "Yeah, I have to do it because this is where you're going to be sleeping." And uh, after one of those moments, she kind of gave me permission to put her into a nursing home where she would be cared for better than better care provided for her better than I would. And uh, believe it or not, but I had made several calls when she had started when she was initially diagnosed to find a place for her, and I couldn't. And once she gave me permission, I made one phone call and there was a bed available. And so I was able to uh, take her there, and she was well looked after in that in that space. And of course, she died there, but it was um, the last 3 months. Much as I would have loved to have her at home, I couldn't.
Yeah.
And she gave me the permission to do that.
Yes. Oh, Rafina,
Yeah.
so beautiful.
May I add a concept that goes with this, Rafina? Is part of that gift that your mom gave you in that acceptance for care is what that allowed you to do is to just focus on being her daughter, let the care place give the care, and that frees you up to be able to just think about all the different ways you can keep connecting, pouring the love on her without having to think about all those procedural things of care and having to do all that physical work. And I even think about that with myself, like, just because nobody wants to leave their home. And but sometimes there's just to make that move and to let others do that physical care for you, and the things that keep you safe, and then allows those loved ones to be able to come in and just be your loved ones is really an incredible gift to both of you. I think it's a hidden gift that a lot of people don't necessarily acknowledge, um, because of how our society frames things. Unfortunately, that's
Thank
beautiful.
you.
I'm so glad that you
Thank you,
got that.
Sonja.
Thank you.
Thank you. I couldn't make the connection, but now you pointing this out is very meaningful to me. Thank you.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, I'm so grateful And you guys may have seen that Safina did drop off. Her mom needed her. Yeah. Thanks, Kim. That's so
Well,
beautiful.
I'll be sending some prayers for her and her
I
family.
know. My goodness, they're carrying
I'm
so
really
much.
glad that she was here.
And hopefully she felt our love for her. I mean, it is that is an amazing thing. I mean, I know this is like not really this is not really the topic for the moment, but I was just thinking that like the deep love I feel for you three who are here and Safina when she was here, right? Even though we're just on Zoom, we're not even in person, but you can just really feel such um compassion for what it is to be a human being, right? And to go through these like such really in some ways unimaginable to carry someone to usher them through the end of life and to usher ourselves through it. Kim, jump on in.
Well, you're so right. And what you're speaking about, I feel, is so nuanced, but yet so infinite and pervasive. And it reminds me of something I read as a very young girl, and I don't know who said it, but it became my leitmotif. And I think it's speaking to this, which is you talk about, well, we feel so connected and love, and yet we're nowhere physically near each other. But what it was, it said, I searched for myself and found nothing. I looked for God, but he eluded me. I sought out my brother, and I found all three.
Oh,
Oh, Kim.
that's beautiful. Where did that come from?
Yeah, where'd it come?
I was like 9 years old or so when I read it. I don't remember, but that is
What?
my North Star.
Holy moly.
Kim?
You've had that wisdom in you since 9 years old?
Well, I saw that wisdom and I resonated with it, yes.
Yeah,
You had it in you since nine. That is so,
that's stunning.
I think we
I
all
really
have
got
it in us.
chills. I got chills
Mhm.
over that. It's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
I
Wow.
think it says a lot about that which is so hard to describe.
Yes. And I love, thank you. I mean, you started by saying, and it's true. Sometimes it's hard, right? Like I'm grasping it. Like I'm having 1,000 feelings all at once going on, today. And it's like, but it's like, that's so beautiful. And yeah, it's all of it. Like,
Mm.
yeah.
It is all, literally,
It's,
all of it.
Yeah.
I've been
That's the
saying that.
point.
I've been saying that so much lately. It's the all of it. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Sonja.
This
Do you got
this leads
someplace else?
me,
Yes, you got someplace.
yes, this leads me to, kind of my next thing. And we all have our human expression, and we have, like, you can't get through life and not have hurts, even with those that you love so much. And just a bit of a story when my mom was passing, and it really felt like she was hanging on for a while. And I was just trying, like, I mean, I had poured so much love onto her, and I just was thinking, like, what do I want her to know, feel, experience?
Hmm.
And then it just came to me again, a God thing for me again, I think. And I just thought, I just told her, like, if there's ever a time that I had hurt you, and so I guess just to give you a little context, my mom was non-responsive, so she was that far into the dying process and had not been eating or drinking for a week. And the hospice nurse, who I was like really close with, was like the sister I never had.
Oh.
She's like, she's just kind of hanging on. And everybody was there. She wasn't waiting for anybody. But what that ended up doing in me is I kept going, I can go deeper, I can go more, I can maybe give her more. And so I just was talking to her soul and telling her, I just said, if I've ever hurt you, I mean, kids hurt their parents all the time. And when we're young and we don't even know and won't even know to say sorry later. So I was just kind of trying to acknowledge all personhood, that if I'd ever hurt her, I was so sorry. And um, I got this unexpected gift from her. So again, she's non-responsive. The music's playing. The room is so beautifully lit with like these like this garland. So it's just a very calm, beautiful
Mhm.
environment. And my mom had not been eating or drinking, and I'm apologizing to her. if there's, just any way I'd hurt her. And a tear went down her face. And it was another physical act. It was not one I would have ever expected. And I was in such this deep zone with her, talking to her soul, that I almost didn't want to even pay attention to the tear because of the absolute communion I felt between our souls. And it was an unbelievable gift to have. Like, I knew for sure she had been hearing everything.
Yeah. Wow.
And
Oh, Sonja.
It is a gift.
it's I just it's just amazing what can happen when we're willing to keep digging in, to keep looking, and just, what do we want them to experience? And like, I was saying this stuff for the benefit of her experience, but I'm the one who ended up blessed in it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Witnessing the tear, and like, I just think life's incredible when we do that. It doesn't even have to be on this topic, and this is just, anyhow. So the real topic is, if there's ever something to acknowledge in a loved one, like how there's been hurt, this really can be a time to initiate some repair.
yeah.
And you never know. It's like, but you really, kind of like my story, like, I was trying to give this to my mom. I knew my mom can't talk to me, and I would say she's never hurt me a day in her life. That was like my perspective. But and I'm sure she wouldn't agree with that, because every parent thinks they can do better. But I had no expectation from her. Like, I was trying to offer, if, I don't think we needed reconciliation exactly, but some people do, like, I will need reconciliation with my dad. A very different experience with my dad. I probably won't root in quite as deeply as I did, but that's such a different, that's just such a different, I guess, a top concept of reconciliation. I will probably have a more profound experience reconciling with my dad. I probably should sooner than later. He's not near death, but I just feel like you don't know for sure how they're going to react. So it's not doing it in a way where you're expecting them to respond a certain way. I think you're just in your own integrity and personhood, expressing what you want to express, what you want them to experience. You might get an absolute gem back. You might, it could be indifference, but I think for your own integrity and
Yeah.
heart and soul, to know that you've expressed is beautiful and healing. And
Oh,
you
Sonja.
never know what may come.
I am so grateful that you're sharing. You're so beautiful. I love that you're willing to share so much with us. And um, I can't help but think, I mean, you guys behind me, my book is Say It Now, my first book, right? Which I can't help but think, as you're saying this, um, yes to doing that at the very end, but also yes to doing it with ourselves right now, after this call, during this call. Yes to doing it with anybody in our lives, because again, to your point, that we don't know what we're going to get back, but we do know how it changes us. And the story dropping in, I also well, I'll just say I have a father who basically abandoned our family. He broke my mother's heart. He had affairs. He was not a bad person. He was just very, 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 very unconscious person. And I talk a lot about the love list, and at one point I made him a love list and I sent it to him. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done, really, was to
I
I had
bet.
to take a long time to sit and really, but it was one of the best things I did for me. And I never got a response from him. I mean, that was kind of the type of person he was. But to your point, Sonja, I think it's like, for our own souls, asking, and this is probably just the question that we can reflect on, quietly for just a moment. Yeah, is there something unsaid, either that for myself in the moment or to somebody else, that I just want to acknowledge? So maybe we'll just take a moment and just kind of all just sit quietly and just think about that piece. Is there some reconciliation that wants to happen. And I'll share, and then if anybody else wants to, please, please, you can. But it's like, for me, I think one of the biggest things coming up in this current death that I'm grieving is really having, I feel all that, like really having to forgive myself, you know, because I had plans to see this person the day after she died. And this has happened to me several times. I should just know by now, right? Like that it's like this has now happened to me several times where I wanted to say some things in person and I didn't have the chance because they passed away right before I got there. And
Oh,
so it's like really forgiving myself for that, you know, like really like forgiving. And to Sonja's point, and I don't know what you believe, Rafina or Kim, but I do believe we can continue relationships. And so I try not just to sort of forgive myself, but to say those things still. Hey, I'm sorry I didn't get to hold your hand, you know, while I was saying this, but here's what's on my heart. And yeah, so that's what came up for me. Anybody else want to share if anything came up for you around repair, reconciliation?
Well, I mean, just in a general sense, yeah, it links to what Andrew Holicek said. Do whatever it is while we have these bodies.
Yes.
It does, there is, when you
Yeah.
realize that's not a given, then there's a sense of urgency to it.
Yeah.
Kim, right. And you know, I mean, even though like that's like this is my guiding philosophy in my life is say it now. I still have, you know, there's actually these two big occasions where I wanted to say it in person so badly. And I think also the big thing to me is like say it even if the situation's not quite what I want, you know, because I can always say it again if I have that lucky chance to be holding a hand. But I
Yeah.
did it with my grandmother too, you know, it's like I missed her death by hours. You know, I was on a plane and she died before I got there. Same thing. So I love that, Kim.
Yeah. And look
Yeah.
at us. We have this beautiful communion and connection right here, and we're not actually touching each other.
I know, but you're right.
It's amazing.
We can
You're
still work.
absolutely, you know what? You're absolutely right. We are touching each other energetically. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. And there's
Yeah.
no reason for that. I don't think death needs to separate that. Like
Mm.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of a feeling with my mom, like so back in the day, I used to run. I mean, I hike more now for our knees, but anyway. Um, and I had this realization just in this how my mom was nonverbal and it became such a soulful connection. And some of the way that I processed was that someday when she passes away, like I felt like there would be no filter or no restriction on our soulful communication. It would just be always.
Yeah.
And it takes nothing for me to just feel her soul at this point. Like
Mm.
this weird thing. Like I can, I lived in we moved to a new house. I would have thought my mom had been there because I feel so soulfully connected. It's almost as if she's physically been there.
Oh, Sonja, that's so beautiful. Ah,
Yeah.
one of the things that I do, and maybe you guys do as well, I'd love to hear. Right after this most recent person died a couple weeks ago, um, we were sitting and there were crickets, just like beautiful. You know, crickets are so beautiful when it's the deep dead of night, and I had just been saying, like, is there a symbol for her? And so crickets became sort of a little bit of a symbol. And my goodness gracious, like how many times I was listening to some of her music and she said, I must have been a cricket in another life in one of the lyrics. And I was watching a movie and drinking the rest of the wine that I had bought for her. And beautiful scene about crickets. I mean, just like the most beautiful, loving. And I was like, I love that. You know, it's like that sense of whether, I don't care if it's just made up or if it's coincidental, in my mind, it's a real communication. Do you guys
And
do
so it
that?
is. And so therefore it is.
That's right. I love
It is. We get to decide.
we get to decide, Kim,
love that.
right? I love that. Yeah. Does anybody else, do you have a symbol of someone that's passed away? Something that kind of is like, oh, here they are?
Well, I know that at my parents' house there were red cardinals around a lot. And so I'm reminded of them when I see them. They're
Yeah.
not so common where I live, though they are here. I don't necessarily presume that's their presence, but I'm reminded of them. But like you were talking about, Sonja Jean, I do feel that now that there's no, at least one of the bodies has been, removed from the equation, there's just not a barrier anymore in communicating. So I speak to them, whomever it is that I'm missing and loving. I just speak to them and I just choose to believe. And so it's true for me that
And so
I'm
it's
talking with
true.
them. And I do believe it. And I
Yeah.
believe they hear me. And sometimes I feel a response, not the connection you talk about, which is such a gift. But yeah.
Thank you so much. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I want to share one little perspective I have that it relates to this is it's just a belief. I have no idea where it came from, but just, I mean, you just said it when you like, when you remove one of the bodies and just, we know how much miscommunication happens just between people. It's like the human condition. And
Yeah.
I just somewhere along the line, this perspective came that when death happens, that just truth, just eternal truth is known to them. So like,
Wow.
like my dad and I have this hard relationship, and there is, we've had reconciliation and we'll continue to, but and it wasn't that great to my mom. That was a big part of it. And I just, even when she passed, I felt a relief on my mom's behalf, like just like those two souls will find clarity. Like, my dad was a certain way, but it really wasn't how she thought, or um I just feel like the clarity gets revealed to the soul who's passed on. So if there was some kind of weird, like, I just feel like the truth is
Yeah.
known
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
our real intention is felt, even if it was kind of muddy in the human experience.
Yeah. Unskilled. And yeah. That reminds
Great
me that
word.
in the
Unskilled.
Holocheck program, he has once a week he comes on live, and he teaches, and he was saying different things, and then at the end there's a time for Q&A, and when he's talking, he said something about, at the moment of death, truth will be revealed, and blah blah, and then he keeps talking. Well, that
Mm.
got my attention, so I raised my hand when they had questions. I said, "What did you mean? The truth will be revealed?"
Yeah.
And he started, I don't even know what he said. He was either, it was very complex and so difficult to put into words. I don't really even know. But at a certain point, I said, "Oh, you mean that everything that's not truth will fall away?" And he said, "Yeah."
There you go.
So
There you
that
go.
sounds like what you're talking about,
Kim.
Sonja.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I'm
Yeah,
writing that in the chat so I can see it again later. Everything that is not truth
will fall away.
will fall away.
That's beautiful.
Well, that just came to me, like you talk about, just as a realization. It wasn't a thought or
Yeah.
reasoning,
No,
you know?
Oh, that's so beautiful.
yes.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling such comfort. I'm just feeling such comfort, right? Just first of all, talking about it, it's like just being able to be honest and real and talk about something that it's so huge in our lives. Like it's so crazy to me. I mean, especially I guess because I'm just still in this grief, but it's like sometimes I walk around like I had to go get some groceries. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so wild, right? We're all like walking around like buying oranges and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everything is happening. Like like Safina, like what she's going through right now. I'm just like, it's so wild. Like so many things are
And if
happening.
she was in line at the grocery store, you'd never know it.
You would never
No,
know it. Oh,
no.
Kim, I know,
And
right?
that's something we can really all keep close to the heart,
No.
that we just can't know. I know when my children's father passed away unexpectedly. It was, and um we were all very close as a family, as a foursome, even though he and I weren't married anymore. And anyway, it was unexpected. It was very hard. And the kids were real, I was too. We were all grieving a lot. And we were sitting together, at a cafe. And just like you're talking about, Sherry, people walking by, looking at the time, where do I have to get next, etc. And my son said, I'm never gonna just look at people and judge them anymore like I used to. Because
Mm.
he realized that anybody walking by him or walking by us has no idea what's going
Yeah.
on. And therefore it's true for all of us. So we want to bring that, compassion and open-handedness to all of us. I think it was Aristotle, he said, be kind, for everyone is fighting a hard battle. Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. That's one of my favorite quotes. I love that, Kim, right? Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Without even having planned it, we are absolutely rooted in what our last point was in this growth and meaning and legacy. And you're already speaking to it. It's when you experience, you're experiencing, death or illness and loss but like what that can do to you as a person to go forward in life. And you just bring that intention to those who are, still in your physical life. And
yes.
um, man, I love being in some place that's public and you just meet eyes with them and you just know that that's another precious person that you have no idea what they're holding.
Yeah.
Could be a Rafina or a Kim. Like it's just you just don't know. And I just think it does make you look at people differently and connect differently. We're just willing to take that moment. And we need those moments now more than ever.
Yeah,
Um,
we do.
times a zillion. It
And like
just
Kim, oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Sonia.
no, I just think it's impossible to get so intentional and rooted with a loved one, and then you just move on with life if they've passed. That's just not even
Yeah.
real. Like you are forever changed, and it's not just grief. Like, I mean, hopefully you have an even better grieving journey because without a doubt you were fully intentional while they were here.
Yeah.
Because death is a part of life, but man, the way it can change you to be able to be intentional with others and just more eyes wide open in life, like that. I don't know all the points of life, but that feels like a significant one.
I just want to say hallelujah, right? Like, so like to Kim's son's point, right? That it's like, can we remind ourselves all the time, right, of that, of looking around. And I had a story. One of the things that I find that I'm the most grateful for about grief is it really like has broken down my sense of like appropriateness when I'm in the world. So I was in an Uber. I was actually going to the home of this person that passed away where her son was waiting, and I got some flowers and food and the wine and whatever I thought might be soothing, and got an Uber. And the Uber driver said, "Oh, I hope you're having a great day today." And I said, "Thank you, that is so sweet of you." And truthfully, I'm not. Truthfully, I'm grieving right now.
Mm.
And he immediately, his whole body changed, and he said, "My father died 2 weeks ago."
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
And you can only imagine, like, so the difference that we had in that short Uber ride, both of us cried. Both
And
of
you
us,
would, oh my gosh, and you could have just walk like
we
Yep.
could
Well,
have,
unseeing in parallel lines, you
You
know?
would have said, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like everybody
right.
does.
Like
You had
everybody
this moment.
does. And it was so beautiful.
Mm.
You know, it's so beautiful to just be able to cry with this. He wasn't a stranger anymore, you know, as soon as, and I think about that often. And Sonja knows this. Sonja and I we're new friends, right? We really are, even though we've known each other for years, we haven't, but it's like we were on the phone the other day and I was just like sobbing, you know, and just sometimes you just can't even, and I think that's a gift, you know, and I think it's a gift that I want to remember. First of all, I'm trying very hard to rewire that. I was on a call with a therapist yesterday and she started the call and she said, I hope you're having a great day. And I was like, that is a weird thing.
Talk about a
That's a little
leading
misplaced.
statement.
And it's, so to my point, I'm really
It's
trying.
saying that in the ER.
What is, we're so wired, right? And so I'm trying very hard to invite people in a different way to share how they are. Besides that sort of, I don't know where you guys, well, I know Rafina's in Australia. I don't know what it's like, but America, man, we're weird. We are a weird country when it comes to like, no matter what, we're like, hey, hope you're having a great. I've had people say to me, sorry, I'm not going to go on a rant. I could, but I'm not. Like people who know I'm in grief, who I just talked to 2 days ago, call and say, hey, I hope you're doing really great. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not.
Not there yet.
My life didn't change over these last two. I mean, you know, anyhow, I forget where I was going with that, except to Kim's son's point, that's what I really wanted to say was, right, how do we keep our eyes open? How do we use our own, like, everything we've been talking about, all our experiences, all of our, this beautiful compassion to bring it as much as we can remember. Yeah. Sorry, guys, that was a little rant.
That's point well taken.
That was a great example, Sherry. Just being willing to dig in and be honest and how much better you both were for it.
Yeah.
Wow. And I do believe that just so often, if we look, the exact right people are in our path
Oh.
at the right time. And to me, I kind of end up getting this feeling of just the being taken care of. Like I just feel like I feel protected and just like the world, God, something's taking care of me. And well, you just have to be open to sharing and I don't know. So who said we have smart people here. Who said we're all just walking each other home?
Ram Dass.
There you go. Yes.
Ram Dass. I
Yep.
love that.
Like I can feel that.
I do too.
Like, I mean, I think that's why we're doing this together, Sherry. Like I feel like, you know, that's why, you know, Kim and Rafina are here and
Yep.
you know, you've both added so much to this conversation.
Oh, you have.
Just, I'm so like, it wouldn't even make sense to me to have the group be a lot larger than this on these topics because it just, I like the intimacy and like the ability to really root in and share versus if there's 30 people in here
Right.
and they're like, it just, I don't think it would have the same effect. So thank
Would be
you for being
different,
here.
sure.
And Rafina got up at 4 a.m.
I know. And you know, the fact also, I just want to say thank you to you too as well, because I was saying this to Sonja Jeanne that I never know what, you know, when I offer things, if there's going to be one person or 40 people or whatever, you know, and I don't care, but it does seem to be that the right things happen, right? Like to me, what a gift to be with you three today. Like this has been so good for me. So good for
I'm
me.
so glad.
Yeah.
So glad.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so good for me
Thank
too.
you.
All of us. And I just want to say, Sherry, I just send you a hug in this time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. But obviously, right, this is, I mean, this is an example of what is possible, right? When we're willing to, I mean, Sonia and I were both just like, you know, with our own stuff going on and like, how in the world, how do you, but you do, you show up, and it's in the showing up that you get to get the, I mean, it sounds cheesy, but it's a healing to be with people. Real, like to have like we're all doing right now. Like I loved you guys anyways. I know both of you and I love both of you anyway. But now I feel like we have this just even richer connection, you know? And so yeah, same with you, right? Like I mean, it's like
Yeah.
everything just gets deepened, and that is like it really is like roots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's the meaning of life.
Mm.
Find all
Yeah.
three.
Exactly.
Mm.
Yes.
Does anybody have, is there anything left unsaid that you want to say?
I
Well,
need
I'm
some help to get to do this kind of work, and I don't know where to start.
That's yeah.
what kind of work?
Yeah, thanks, Kim.
Just to reach out to people, just what we're talking about, you know, to have these meaningful conversations, and um, I don't know where to start, and I feel very isolated here in this part of the world.
Oh,
Rufina, one thing that I want to share with you is that I am in the midst of having a series of conversations like this with different people who are just as wonderful as Sonja Jean. And I will send you a couple links that for me, the whole way that I'm approaching, I mean, I can't even imagine. I'm in the middle of a book launch right now, and I'm just sort of like, a what? Like, but the way that for me to do it that means anything is this, right? It's just to be in conversations. So I'll send you a couple links, and if the timing, I know it's hard because of where you are, but if the timing works, one of them that I want to say is with a poet, my poet friend Rosemary Watola Tromer, who her son took his life 4 years ago, a
Oh.
16-year-old. And
Oh.
Rosemary is, she's just like a master at navigating grief and bringing in joy. And I think you'd love her. So I'll particularly make sure I send that, but I'll send some others. Sonja, Kim, do you have other resources that you would also want to share?
I I don't at the moment. Um, what a resource that we will share from this is we'll actually email you a follow-up with a few main concepts and also include all of the prompts, the journaling prompts that we are planning to do with you.
Thank-
So however that may be helpful. So you'll have that coming to you.
And you know what, Rufina? Duh, I just thought of this. So, you know, the platform that this was advertised through is called
Oh,
Reimagine.
yes, yes, yes.
I don't know if you went to their calendar, but I'm going to encourage you. Reimagine, they are dedicated to conversations about death and dying and living fully. So their whole mission is bringing in all kinds of, they call us collaborators, anyone who wants to be talking about this. And you can just go, I'm going to make sure I just wrote down to send you that specific link so you go to their calendar. Um, they have things going on all the time, both the sort of official that their leaders are putting on, but also people like Sonja and myself who just want to talk about this. And I think you'll really connect. It's a beautiful community.
That
Thank
sounds very
you.
interesting to
Yeah,
me as
sorry,
well.
Kim, you too. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I discovered them, I guess a year before the pandemic, and I met the person who founded it. And he went through a very devastating, when he was, I think, 20, his girlfriend, he went through the dying process with her as a very, very young man, and it's profoundly changed his life. And that's what prompted him to start this. So yeah, we'll make sure when Sonja and I send out our follow-up, we'll make sure we put the Reimagine, just the general link there.
Yeah, I would love to know about that too, and anything
And
you do in the future. And Rufina, I would also say, I mean, it's not in existence yet, but as I mentioned early on, I'm putting a lot of my attention right now on this aspect of humanity, being human. And I will be most likely putting out a newsletter about it with some thoughts and ideas and perhaps resources. If you want to be on that mailing list, I'd be happy to include you. But it's not out yet, but if you do, just
Thank you. Thank you, Kim.
And Kim, keep me posted, obviously, right? Because what I'm doing, you know, is collaborating with people on these topics. So maybe we'll do something together.
That's lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And Sonja, please, I just want to say to you, you have been just a treasure in 1,000 ways through this process. And what you brought today and your mom.
Yeah.
I love you. I never got to meet your mom when she was actually physically here, but I feel like I've met her a million times now. And I know our Woodwick.
I feel like there's a presence.
I know our Woodwick candles.
Oh.
And thank you. You've just brought so much to all of us. You're just such a beautiful person with a beautiful heart. And we've also talked about offering this again. So if you want to come back, you guys can also come back. Yeah.
It's
Right.
clear to me, Sonja Jeanne, thank you for sharing your experience and your something so personal, but it's so evident to me that because of the great love you had, it's to that degree such a loss, but what a gift. What a gift that you and your mother had that relationship and still do.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is, nothing can take that away. That is immeasurable.
Thanks for saying that, Kim. I love that acknowledgement. And you know, my greatest blessing is being Jeannie's daughter. I love that my middle name is her name.
Yeah.
No one's really called me Sonja Jeanne much until Sherry, and then you all did. And like, this is so heartwarming for me.
Oh.
And again, it's just, I feel like, you know, I'm doing this to try to help people, but then I'm the one who walks away feeling so blessed about it because, you know, the more you want to keep talking about your loved one and saying their name, as Sherry's so good about, and it just all of this helps to keep them alive. And so like, you're all giving me that gift right back, and she'd love you all.
Oh,
I
we
bet
love
she
her.
does. We send it back.
Yeah.
She's just such a great soul and character she was, and
Oh.
What a
so much
gift.
cooler than I am. But
And also, I talk a lot about legacy. It's one of my favorite words. And, you know, I love to think that even though I didn't meet your mom in person, look how much she's impacted me. I mean, I
yeah,
can't tell you the number of Woodwick candles I've now sent to people who are, you know, people that I want to connect to each other the way that your mom and you connected. That's just one of her many legacies.
Yeah.
that's amazing. Just love that.
Yeah.
Such
You guys,
ripples into life.
thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I almost hate to close this out, but I didn't have any breakfast and I'm gonna have some breakfast. And I just please, biggest hugs to all of you. It's so beautiful to be here with you today.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
ladies.
you.
Bless.
Thank
All of
you.
you.
Thank you.
We'll see you
And
soon.
thank you, Sherry.
Yep.
Thank
Take
you.
good
We'll see
care.
you soon,
Beautiful.
okay?
Bye.
Bye.